Well, hello, good people and Eagle fans. Mark Holmes here. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. We have had now the Cowboys and the Rams practice in the books. We got Jerry Jones talking about the possibility that Micah Parsons might not be there for opening game. It's on Micah, basically. And he said, I got a sense of urgency here. Okay, you should have the urgency a while ago. And I'm actually, my fireside chat, I will go into my sense of urgency on this season that they need to have. Because, you're beginning to see the team shape up and you're beginning to see some of the problems that we've had in the past, which, you've got worries about Mozzie Smith, of course, and the defensive line, and maybe the running game as well. So, we might need to be doing some plays and, for some players and stuff. You see the Eagles realize that their secondary is not good and maybe is not stout enough to go against what the Cowboys are going to have. So they're making moves to try and counter that, and that's where the Cowboys need to go. In the meantime, they still need to get the gorilla or the 800-pound gorilla in the living room dealt with, which is Micah Parsons. Now, Monday night after, I think it was Sunday night, I've had this and I've been meaning to do something with this. Eugene Monroe, who is a former NFL player, first-round draft pick, left tackle, understands the NFL. He still works with NFL players and things, working on treatment and things with head trauma and stuff. He's a partner with Leo. Now, Leo can get on your nerves and stuff, but he has done something good, which is introduce us to Eugene. And we had a conversation about Micah Parsons and about the holdout and whether players actually like the idea of playing for the Cowboys. Let's go to this.
Oh, I went through the stream a little bit.
He
was mostly quiet.
He went off, man.
And you muted him. You muted him too.
I kept muting, and he would unmute it too. It was kind of crazy, but when he went after Holly, you can't mess with Holly now. Okay, now, truth be told,
see, just like that, Eugene. That's how he was doing.
No. See, you have to understand.
Just like that.
Let me explain something though. No.
See what happens when you step into my world.
Y'all funny, man.
Oh, okay. All right.
Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry. I just had to get you, man.
No, here's the thing. There's one thing I do.
Muted. You go ahead and unmute yourself.
Nobody's ever muted me before. Okay, here's the thing. Let me explain one thing. When it comes to the ladies, I go into wolf mode, okay? And so that because it actually started out where I had somebody came in and told a woman, said, look, shut the F up. You don't know what you're talking about. Go make me a sandwich. And I was like, you can't disrespect these ladies. Because most of them know actually more than most of the fans that are actually, the guys that are up in there and stuff. So it's always been, now she thought that you said, get the dick out of your mouth. And she's like, well, I ain't got a dick, so I didn't put it in my mouth. But I think you were talking about Jerry having his dick in his mouth. Okay.
Yes.
But she thought she meant all of us Cowboy fans having it in there. But anyway.
Now, you know what, Mark, the night that Eugene and I are talking about, he also didn't know about what Jerry had said either. I had to send him the link to see that video of what Jerry said, because that was new news to him as well.
You talking about the old video from Jamie?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. With Jamie Foxx. Yeah.
I saw that and it really wasn't new to me. Although I didn't hear him say it, I went through the draft. So it is what it is. That's exactly what they do. And they definitely know that about you, for sure. I mean, they put you in your draws, make you spin around, bend over, touch your toes, all this stuff, claiming they're checking your flexibility. But, I mean, they seen you on film. What's that all about?
That sounds like slave market stuff.
Exactly. And I mean, that's what we're dealing with here. I mean, players are tired of being treated like they don't have any value. It's an ugly situation, man. And I searched because I wanted to see what my peers and other players thought about this. And the first thing I saw was a tweet from J.J. Watt. And he said, take care of your best players early. Saves
Mm,
money,
Mm-hmm.
saves headaches. The longer you wait, the higher the price.
hmm
Simple.
And Jerry's consistently done that.
But here,
Simple.
let me ask you, Eugene, being a player in the NFL and stuff, what is the perspective of being a Dallas Cowboy and Jerry Jones?
Um, I spent a good bit of the last week with Jared Leo, who played for the
Yeah.
Cowboys,
Mm-hmm.
for a little while. And
Shout out
he
to Jared.
loved his
Jared
experience
Green.
down there.
Mm-hmm.
He talks high about how the
Hmm
Cowboys run their organization. Um, I think what we're dealing with here, and Leo, when we talk about, let's flip it. You mentioned in New Jersey politics, for example,
Yeah.
there's something that you say that we have to wait to happen for things to actually move. And I think we're watching
Yeah.
that here with the Cowboys.
Yep.
And if you would go ahead
Yep.
and say it, because you say it best.
Yeah. I always, when I'm dealing with, assembly folks and stuff like that, and people get angry, I say, well, we have to wait for a lot of old people to die
And we're
if we
not
want to, if
wishing
we're going to
that,
make things.
like,
Yeah.
there's death, but the truth is, we know what generation he's from, and
Mm-hmm.
that man's been beyond wealthy
hmm
for how long? Forever. And whoever has told him no, when you're in that position,
hmm
unless you got a firecracker of a wife who'll put her foot down, you
Mm-hmm.
just do what you want. And it looks like Jerry's done what he's wanted, forever. Which is why the team has been in the situations it has been, and it's been a few decades now since
hmm
And look, I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not trying to fire shots, Mark, but I mean it's
No,
been a
but
long time since y'all been in the dance, and it's crazy that you're still respected as America's team.
and that's
Shots
where
fired.
this
Yep.
is what I've kind of pointed out to people is, New England won 6 Super Bowls. The Eagles have been to 3, winning 2 in recent history.
Yeah.
Kansas City, you've got, Pat Mahomes. Yet tomorrow, every single show will be about the Dallas Cowboys. So, and you've got the most valuable franchise. Everybody's always on the tongue. So, with Jerry already having 3 Super Bowl rings, is actually winning a Super Bowl really his thing, or is it about making more money? Because when I sit here and look at some of the things that they do to the players and things that really
Mhm.
aren't necessary, the fact that they charge a monthly fee to the players for eating at the facilities, whether they eat there or not. When you think about the $10 million they make from the tours of in the locker room and the weight room and stuff, and it's kind of like, is that stuff more important than actually getting a good culture and winning a Super Bowl?
Jerry's a businessman first and foremost.
Without a
And
doubt.
what
Mhm.
that means is he doesn't want to lose, right? So I don't think that these plays are solely for money, but someone in your stream, mentioned the fact that they're controlling the media right now.
They do.
Yeah.
So they're making the team more valuable even during this period
I
of
was gonna say,
drama.
yeah.
I will say I don't think that it's nefarious in the sense that he's in some way colluding with Micah and the deal's actually worked out and they're doing this to control the media. Because again, even though Micah is the player he is, the owner's still the owner. And he's the one cutting the checks, and they're big ones.
Yeah.
So you got to
Mhm.
understand the position he's sitting into.
So Eugene, then can you expand on your text to me about when Micah's brother is on a live stream talking? Like, what's your take? Tell Mark about your take on that.
Even as far as Micah himself making commentary about this, the truth is this all needs to happen behind closed doors.
But
And
that's not the Cowboys
even though
way.
you create heat with these arguments and it's taking over the media cycle, you don't win your negotiation in the media. And
Mm.
so I just thought it was a little off-putting that like his family member would come out, and no disrespect to him, but like everybody needs to be quiet.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
He's trying to win in the court of public opinion. Well, that's great that everybody's on his side, that his teammates are on his side and everything else. But in the end, Jerry Jones has got so much money that he doesn't give a rat's ass. When you've got that kind of money, you've got FU money. It doesn't matter about my business, okay? If we win or lose, I'm going to be right, and you're going to kowtow to me. And that's where kind of CD was kind of like, I don't know about kind of putting Jerry on blast. I'm with you, dog, but, be careful how you step, because now you're kind of stepping into the arena where he, of course, feels like he's above you. You are my employee slash, dare I say, slave? But
You're my boy. You're
yeah,
right. You're my
right.
boy.
I own your ass.
Yeah.
And, so that's where you got to be careful where you're trying to crossing that line there. Now, again, having me on his side and everything else doesn't do a bit of good for his situation.
Right. Right.
That does absolutely not. That puts no more pressure for Jerry Jones. The Dallas Cowboys were ass last year. They were unwatchable. Yet,
Right.
here we are this year. You got more primetime games than anybody else.
Right.
Yeah. And
Right.
I'm
So he's good for
thinking,
business.
he's putting a trade request out in the media publicly, but the Cowboys still
Don't
hold the
care.
power, and I believe they also hold that tag power over his head too,
They have him for
which could
3 years.
prolong this again and make this an issue another year.
Well, actually, here's actually the way you look at it is he's $24 million this year. They could go ahead and make a play on that. They could tag him next year. The tag, I believe, is $26 million next year. They would actually save money.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they could tag him a third time, and I think it'll be like 30 or 31. They could tag him for 2 years, and make him pay on this 5th-year option and literally spend $75 million and just say, fuck it, and let him go.
The thing is, if he wanted to have any power in the situation, he shouldn't be there. You don't show up. And if it takes this, I mean, you even stay home when the season starts. Like
Well, I looked at
go ahead, Leo.
I looked at what he wrote, like what he put out on Twitter. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is a lot. These are some serious allegations as far as I'm concerned. And regardless of whether they sign him tomorrow or the next day, there's going to come a point where there's going to have to be a come to Jesus moment about the way Jerry was doing things. All that talking to the player without his agent being there and all this other stuff. You got to answer for that. Regardless of, I'm not saying he's going to get in trouble and they're going to take the team. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that that's a whole nother conversation that the organization as a whole needs, they need that like a hole in the head.
But that's the problem with the relationship, right? The owner should be able to have just candid discussions with a player without trying to jam him into a contract situation.
Right.
And his agent should be at the table negotiating that anyway.
Yep.
So if he tried to force that upon them, like I did here, I'm not totally clear on how that happened. That's nefarious.
Yeah, but that's Jerry Jones's way. He always wants to eliminate the agent. Of course, he tried to throw Dez with Rock Nation.
Of course,
and
because
stuff
the agent's going to get the best deal for the player.
And
that's his job.
We know David Mulligata is rated as the #1 guy, and he is fleecing people left and right. And so, yeah, I can understand Jerry Jones not wanting to do the contract with them because they always screw up. The thing that doesn't make sense about it is if you're going to screw up at full speed. Don't wait all off season and everything else and then still sign a bad deal. If you're going to sign a bad deal, hurry up and sign it. Get it out of the way and stop all of this BS. There's nothing worse to me than Micah Parsons missing training camp and that practice time with his team. Jerry
missing camp.
Yeah.
And even if he's
what up, Marcus Blackman?
Even if he's missing, practice and he's still working out on the side, like you're not getting in game shape. You're not getting reps with your teammates. You're not working on timing with all the games and stunts and everything else you have to do at his position. I mean, you're just missing so much. Even if you're as talented as he is, it's critical that you get that work.
And in the final, like we're in the we're literally a month away, 4 weeks away from opening game. In Philadelphia, Dallas Cowboys. I'm sorry, Dallas Hostages versus the Philadelphia Eagles. At this point in training camp, like how much more if he shows up tomorrow, if he gets signed tomorrow, do you think that what he has missed thus far could it possibly show itself in going into game one? Because remember, this is a new coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new coaching staff, period. A lot to have to try to, will he still be playing catch up basically by week one?
It's tough to say. I learned the whole Ravens playbook in a week, right?
Wow.
So, and listen, some people are just built different. You can't go back in time and say that Lawrence Taylor needed to show up for training camp, right? That man could have
Right.
walked on the field any day and dominated.
Yep.
And Micah's got that kind of talent.
Yeah, and being
Right.
an edge rusher, because again, you'd have packages and stuff for him. It's not like being a wide receiver running routes or things,
Yeah.
or being an offensive guard where you've got to sync up with the plays and everything else, and you've got the calls and stuff back and forth. Is it ideal? Hell no, because again, like Eugene just pointed out, there's being in shape and then there's football shape. It's two totally different things. And the last thing you want to have to happen is you go out there and you pull a hamstring, you get a soft tissue injury that sets you back even further getting into the season and stuff. To me, this is just too big of a distraction, but we do this every single year. All the players.
Eugene, have you ever held out?
I sure did. I actually held out my first deal, man. I stepped into the NFL with a holdout because, the way the draft slotted the pay, the scale was way off with what the Jaguars tried to sign me for. And I would have got paid less than the guy who got drafted after me if I signed that deal. So Sonny said, stay home. And I did. I stayed home. I worked out every day, tried to stay in as best shape as I could until we got that deal done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go
so
ahead.
There you have it, Mark. I got another question for you, Eugene.
I'm going
to when you're holding
right
in, right?
I'm going to leave that right there, and flip that back over, and that's the player's perspective of holding out and how it's going to hurt the team. So shout out to Eugene Monroe. I appreciate him taking his time and stuff, and I appreciate Leo bringing him in here. At least he is definitely the better half of that too. So we'll see where this all goes. Hopefully we can get Micah signed sometime soon. And, let me remind you, it's always darkest before the dawn.